Welcome. Hello, everyone. Yeah, so today, uh, as the title says, we're going to be doing some Endgame, Silman's Endgame from Leeches, and then probably going to do it for like an hour or so, and then do a blitz grind after that. Yeah, so as the title also suggests, that we're going to be looking for from the section of 1800 to 2000, 1999, right? Yeah. I thought of starting with some positions that I know some people are struggling with, like Lucina and the Philidor, but um, yeah, so I decided to just start with this one. Probably we'll do those positions, like those common positions, another day. All right. Okay. So you can find this in Lichess. It's part four, class A. Yeah. So in Lichess, there's a beginners to class D, there's class C, class B, class A, expert, master, and then tactics. All these come from Silman's Endgame. Okay. Yeah. So we're gonna start with this position. We'll be analyzing a lot because we're trying to see, we're analyzing end games. So obviously we'll be also there's something to read besides here, so I'll read it out for you after we look at the position, right? Yeah. Okay. So this one, looking at it, white to play, white is winning, right? Uh, yeah. So king f6, king f6, a2. e6, king e6, a1, checkmate, right? King f6, king d7, king f7, takes queen, and that pawn is not promoting. Or king f6, king f7, there, takes, yeah, and this pawn is still not really promoting after queen e1. Yeah, so I think king, if white is to play here, white is winning. Um, all right, so they call this strange races. Like black is racing to promote, white is also racing to promote here. Yeah. So okay, so let's see what they're saying here. Many king and pawn games are decided by simple races that center on whose pawn promotes first. On one side queens and the other can't. It's usually game over. And when both sides promote one after the other, it's usually a draw. Much of the beauty of chess, though, lies in exceptions. And then there are several race exceptions that are must knowns. Useful advice: pawn mates are something one must be familiar with. They form the basis of many victories in more complex pawn games. Okay. All right. So king f6 is the right move. A2, king e6, the only move. Queen, and then checkmate, right? So that's what we said. Uh, yeah. So this is what we said. Or another variation is after king f6, um, king here, but then We have king f7, and then black is losing the race here. Queen takes, and then yeah, queen back here, and this is lost. All right, yeah. So that was easy. I don't know about you guys, but this was very easy. Yeah. So you just have to see this mate. When the king gets here, and then you push. This is mate, right? Yeah. All right. That's the first part. Let's get to part two. King and pawns. Hmm. Who's to play here? White. All right. Uh, the kings are far here, so well, the white king is close to where we're going to promote, right? All right. Mm. So if we take the advice that they talked about in the first part, they said usually in these races, if we promote one after the other, usually it leads to a draw. So maybe because there's no way we are capturing this pawn, right? This pawn is far, so we have to try to promote after they promote. So c5, if a2, do we take? Let's see. Wait. Uh, mm, so c5, a2. Let's start with c6 first. Um, c5, a2, c6, a1, c7. Right? Yeah, that doesn't look good. Because I'm thinking, yeah, I don't like that. The fact that they have an extra pawn means at some point they can sacrifice that queen. So let's see again. c5, a2, c6, a1, c7. Right. Let's say it takes on d4, c8 is equals to queen, check. But now probably I have a lot of spaces here to draw this. Okay. I don't trust the variation. So let's see c5, a2, c takes d6, a1, and then g7, right? Pawn takes king c7. Hmm. Okay. Hmm. All right. I think there's something we have to remember here. So c5, a2, right? c5, a2. I think we have to take the pawn here. I think we have to take the pawn. C takes, because like I'm saying, c5, a2. If we play c6, I don't like the idea of giving them another pawn because they can take a queen, right? And if we take on d6 and then they play a1, we play d7. They take on d4, we play king c7. Um, so because the king is far, I think that's a draw, right? Let's see. So we're saying c5, a2 uh, takes, a1, d7 takes, king c7. Yeah, I think that's a draw. Let's see what they're saying here. c5. Okay, so this is a blunder you can take. We knew that. So c5, a2 takes, queen, queen takes, queen c5, king b8, queen b6. Yes. Okay, this is a win now. Yeah. Okay, so that means you can take the pawn. Let's see. c5, a2. Oh, right. Uh, all right, let's see this again. c5, a2 takes on d6. We already saw that it's losing. Um, so c5, a2, c6, a2, a1, c7, takes on d4, and then queen. Yeah, I think I like that one. Maybe. Okay, let's see. Let's see what they're saying first. Okay, wait, let's see the position first. C6, queen takes. Um, so let's say they take. Why can't we check? Oh, okay. Hmm. All right. So after this, once we play c7. Okay, we can take. Yeah, we are losing again. Yeah. So that means white is always losing here because this doesn't work. Yeah. Yeah. No, we are losing this again. See, the idea is that at some point we're going to sack this queen. We're going to sack the queen. We're going to exchange the queens, right? And then this pawn is going to be fast. So queen b6 check, and then you can play queen c5 here or this, but maybe this. This is more. Yeah. So yeah. So queen c5 here, and yeah, whatever you do here, you're losing. All right. So the first variation, which was c5, c5. This is a blunder, right? Because d takes d2, a1 check, queen, c7. Whatever you do here, this is a draw. Yeah. So a2. Well, also so this is losing because of c whatever. This is losing. Uh, Check whatever, and then when the king gets here, you're gonna start coming with the king, and then he's gonna get out. He's gonna do the same thing, and then you're gonna come with the king again. So, and then the third variation was this one, a2, this one. But again, so this is losing, queen, check, hey, queen c5, right? You're gonna run out of checks as white, yeah. Right, so king e1, you don't have this, you don't have this, now you have to go this way, and now we're gonna go up, block with the queen, push the pawn, checks again. Yeah, so let's see what they say here. So I think white is always losing, yeah? Yeah, so white is always losing, yeah, no matter what you play. Black just have to make sure that you don't take the pawn, right? You don't have to, if you take the pawn, then it's a draw. Because now, queen and check, like the idea doesn't work now. Check, 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 check. Right. Yeah. So it's gonna be a stalemate. That's the idea. Yeah. So here it doesn't work here. All right. So we have three variations. The first one, this one, black will never play that move. So this variation A2, this is the second one, which is losing after takes, queen, check, check, push the pawn, right? Um, Third one, losing again, takes. Yeah, this is a lot. If you've done other parts in Silman's Endgame, you know that that's losing. All right, so let's hear what they're saying in the book. Um, so success in many races depends on the knowledge gleaned in past sections. This position is an excellent example of this. So c5, and then d takes such an innocent and natural move, but it throws the victory out the window. Correct was a2, which we'll explore after we finish. Okay. Even the most innocent move can have life and death ramifications in a king and pawn game. So a2 is the idea there, and then c6, a1, c7. White has a c pawn. So this is the question that you may ask yourself: White has a c pawn, so why can't you draw? Because like they said in the past section that most of the time in the end games, if you promote and I promote, usually it's a draw, right? But then in this case, they're saying it's not a draw because of two reasons. Uh, White stalemate safe. So White has some stalemate ideas here, but after King A8 isn't stalemate anymore due to the existence of the D4 pawn. So you're gonna take the pawn like we saw. You're gonna give some checks and then push the D pawn. And at some point you can, uh, in some point you can sacrifice the queen, and then you just push the pawn. Like you exchange the queens, and then you push the pawn. All right. Yeah. So here, white is always losing here. That makes sense. Uh, Part three. I know this one. I have seen this one. I have seen this one. Yeah, so white is winning here. I've seen this one. This one we have seen. So it's like I mean, probably everyone at this point, like if you are 1800 or something, you already know that chess is it's about positions, right? Like they said actually in part two that it's about something that you have learned, past experiences or whatever you've learned before. It's all about memory and then capturing those positions. So this one I've seen a lot of times. Uh, like even the kings usually are not like this, but yeah, the idea is the same. So here the only winning move is a6 here. That's the only move. That's the only move that's winning here. Because we're going to make it before them, and then this is cut off, right? So that's the idea. Let's show it. H3, H2, Queen, and the king is not gonna make it in time. So this is a win. So this one we're not gonna go deep into it. We're just gonna read what they say here. Um, okay, so they're saying even though the race seems to be even, the fact that there are two rook pawns means that both queen and squares connect on the long diagonal. This can easily have decisive ramifications. All right. So yes, the idea is a6, and then you're going to get that right. So they say a note to remember is that the rook pawns, they are rook pawns, and so you should know by now rook pawns stand for results or problems that are strange, odd, annoying, and fair. Keep this in mind whenever a rook pawn in game is about to be reached. Yeah. There are certain positions that you just have to know. Like, I remember a position of mine uh, last year. It was a tough end game. I was winning at some point. At some point, he was winning because I remember we were also struggling with time. And then at some point, I just took my rook because I saw that he had, for example, he had a, bishop, a dark squared bishop and a pawn that was going, a rook pawn which was going to promote on the light square. So I just sacrificed the rook, and then it was a draw. So positions like that, you have to know, like, you don't have to think hard about them, just like this one. Okay. I think this one was easy as well. Uh, Next chapter, 3.2. Oh, so okay. So this is what I said in the last one, right? Um, the idea is the same, but now the king is not here. The black king is not here. It's on f1, right? So now it's different now. So this one is a draw. This one is a draw. So the same thing. Just now the king is on f1, which means the king is close to the pawn to be able to protect the pawn. You're gonna give checks, but then because we're talking about the the pawn rook, it means uh, it's a draw. All right. So the idea again, a6, you can't move the king. I mean, if you move the king, you're losing. So you have to promote uh, h3. The idea again, h2, queen, and then king g1. Right. Whatever you do here, so it will always be a draw. Because now, if you try that idea of trying to put the queen here, the king will come here, and then you have to move the queen again. So the king won't be able to get out of that h1 square. So this will be a draw, right? Yeah. So this again something that you have to know, like the pawn here on the rooks. If you have a queen and the king is this close, it's a draw. So that also means what? The queen is stronger than the rook, right? So it also means if you have a rook again, that pawn is too strong, so it's going to be a draw. You're just going to have to sack the rook. Yeah. So this is the same thing as the one we did before. It's actually 3.2 to just show you that it's the same thing. Now the king is on f1 instead of a1. And then you play a6 as white, trying to promote, and then from there king g1. You can try it a different way. You can say start with king g1, queen, and then h2. Same idea. All right. Let's look at another one. Yeah, so that one is just the same idea. It's just different positions for the key. Um, so it's going to play again here. It's all about the math here. So um, I'm gonna say this is a draw. Yeah, this is a draw. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay. Yeah, this is a draw. White to play. You have to be smart about. Yeah, yeah. Okay. So one, two, one, two, one, two. Oh yeah. Okay. So this is another draw. So what I'm doing with the one, two is that um, uh, so the idea is King G7, right? If you play H4, I have to like. So I'm going to always trying to get to that two by two by two by two. So what I'm doing is okay. Let me start this. So it's one, two, right? One, two, one, two, one, two. So if white allows me to play all the way to my pawn, I'm going to draw, right? If they try to go to the pawn, then I have time to make it to the pawn. So here's what I'm saying: pawn, h4, king f6, because I always want to do that 1-2. So now if they say h3, where am I going? Now I'm changing tactics. 1-2. I'm going to make it in time, right? h2, and then okay, yeah, okay, no, c7, yeah, c7, yeah. So this is the idea here. Um, let's start that again. 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, right? So it's two by two by two. So we start with king g7, h4. We go to king f6 because we want to make it into two moves. If they decide to go after our pawn, right? So wait. So if they play, yeah, okay. So okay. So we go king e5 here. Uh, if you take king f and it's a draw, I'm making it in time, right? I'm inside the square. All right. Yeah. Let's start that again. Um, king g7, h4, king f6. We play king f6. Like you don't want to play king g6 here. This is losing for white, right? King g6 is losing. Even though you're making it in two moves, now the pawn you're making it in four moves. That's not the right way to go about it. You play king f6. They play h3. If they play king h3, you play king e6. Whatever they do, it's a draw again. h2, c7. If they get here, you come here, h1, check. So this goes back to the part one that we did that if you promote and I promote, it's a draw. Yeah, so this is a good example of that because we're just going to check each other or just exchange the queens. Yeah. Yeah, so that's my calculation here. This is a draw. Why to play? Um, let's hear what they say. Thus far, we've seen that the result of some races depends on prior knowledge of other endgames, on king position, and or on whether or not a pawn queens with check. Our next position, studied by the great Reti in 1921, seems completely lost for white. So much so that the resignation might be in order. How can white possibly save himself? It's clear that black's going to win this race hands down. And to make matters worse, the black king is only two moves away from eating white's pawn. However, white makes use of a solid understanding of the square of the pawn, good king footwork, and the fact that his pawn queen swift check to make the miracle complete. All right. Yeah. So there's just a lot of English there. Don't take that into consideration that much. You just have to know your end game. Yeah. King g7, like I said, because you want to make it in two squares to the pawn, the same way they're going to make it in two squares to your pawn. Um, if they play here, again, king f6, uh, h4, same idea, king e5. You can't take the pawn. King h3, king d6, h2, c7, h1, queen check, queen queen. So again, a draw. I really have no way of explaining that in another method. Um, yeah, so this is a draw. Um, let's see if they have anything more to add. Uh, okay, there's nothing. Yeah, so that's the way you go about it. Yeah, so if you have another way of explaining this, because for me, yeah, I only have that way. King g7, trying to get to the pawn in two moves, just like black is getting to your pawn in two moves. If they play h4, you play king f6, still two moves. They play h3, you play king e5. No, king e6, h2, c7, queen, queen, right? Or king g7, h4, king f6, king b6, king e5. If they take the pawn, it's a draw, right? Yeah. Uh, so let's get this position. Let's imprint it in our memory. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Next chapter. Uh, why to play again, I guess. Okay. Mm. Oh my god. Oh man. What's the idea here? We can't protect the pawn. That's out of the question. So the only thing left to do here is to try to catch the pawn. Also, that's out of the question. But there's another trick here, right? Let's see. What's the trick here? King g6, a4, king f5. Okay. Wait, king g6, a4, king f5, a3, king e6, a2, c7, a1, c8, or after c7, if they play king b7, then you play king d7. All right, I think this is a draw game. Wait, let's see. King, king g6, a4, king f5, a3, king e6, a2, c7, a1, c8, or king d7, king d7, a check, check. All right. What's the other way? King g6. If they just play king b6, human move, king g6, king b6, again king f5, king takes. No, that's raw because of king e4, and then I have a position there on c6 and e4. Um, if they play king c5, I play king d4. Wait, c5. King c5, king d3, um, b4, c2. Yeah, okay, that's a draw. Okay, so I think this is a draw again. The idea is the same, right? King g6. If you play a4, I have king f5. Uh, a king e6, a c7. If you play here, I play here, and then you promote, and then I promote with check. It's a draw. We've seen that before. Um, so queen again, like part one said. If you promote and I promote, it's a draw. So king g6. If they just go after the pawn, king f5, king takes, king e4, king here, king d3. Nah, we know this one, right? We know this one. Uh, yeah, so I'm gonna go with draw again on this one. I'm gonna go with another draw on this one. Okay, let's hear what they say. Uh, Reggie Discovery created Chorister back in 1921, and other problem composers rushed to emulate him. The following example is one such attempt. Adams in 1922, white to move and draw. Okay. Yeah, so king g6 is the move here. That's what you play here. Yeah. Mm, it's all about the maths. It's all about the maths. G6, a4, 5, a3. I mean, I guess either way is fine. Two, queen, queen. All right. Yeah. So it's a draw. It's a draw. Okay. Okay, now I'm trying. Now I'm trying to remember this position. All right. Okay, so now I think we can. Let's see. Okay, this is the same idea. Well, let's go back to. But I said I'll do this another time. I want to incorporate it with the other one. So let's just look at this one. Probably do two more, and then we're going to start grinding in chess.com. White to play here. I think the human move is king b5. Um, king b5. Trying to get a position. But the pawn is on d4, it's not on d5. The pawn is not on d5. Because if it was in d5, it will be a different story. But it's on d4. So this goes back to prior knowledge. Like if it was in d5 and somehow you were able to get it, maybe this pawn, the black pawn is here, then you're winning because whatever black does, then you're gonna come here and then you're gonna start pushing the pawn, right? But now it's on d4, so it's different. So b5, king b5, king f6, king c5. King d7, king takes, you have whatever you play, king c7, they're gonna play king e6, then you play there. Yeah, so I think b5, c7, c5, d7, takes d5, whatever you play, this side, there, pawn push, there. I'm gonna go with a draw again here. I think it's another draw this one. So because of king here, king c7, king c4, right? Yeah, so here, so this is the important part, right? So here you can't play king d7. King d7 is losing. So you play c8 or d8. So the idea is to get a position now. So takes, and now king d7, right? c7 push. Now you know this now. Okay. So b5, c7, c5. You can't play this because it's losing. So you play this. Takes. Yeah. All right. You know this. Uh, so let's try to run away, right? C6. I guess you have a lot of options. Whatever move you play here is fine. You can play c6. You can get this, again this. Yeah, no. Whatever thing you play here, it's fine. Takes. Get the position, and it's a draw again. All right. Yeah. So this is a draw. This is a draw. Let's see what they say here. All versions of this endgame have already been addressed or indirectly addressed via strange races. Yeah, so that's what they're saying here. The the ideas is still the same to what we've been doing so far. Um, yeah, so they're saying all versions of this endgame have already been addressed or indirectly addressed via strange races in part 4 or in any of the king and pawn versus king positions that can so easily occur. Um, white to move, draw. White will force the win of black's pawn on d5, but the resulting position is a basic draw. If black plays correctly, like we said, you can't play d here because then white. So the idea is that if you get here, we go e6. If you play here, we play d5. You get here, whatever you do, you have to get out, right? Yeah. So you have to play c8 or d8 there, and then from there everything is a draw. Okay. Let's look at the last part. Yes. So, if you remember the on the last one, I said the pawn is on d4, not on d5. Now the pawn is on d5, which makes it different. Um, let's see what's different actually. Um, oh yes. So on the last part, Black was able to go. Like if you remember, let's go back. Come on. If you remember, where is it? Yeah. Like Black was always playing on this rank, right? On the seventh rank. But when it was time for White to take the pawn, Black went back so that they can come back again to the seventh rank and then get opposition, right? So White has been getting opposition all this time, but at this point, the critical point where White is about to get in front of the pawn, Black has a chance to go back. And then you get the pawn, and then you get back into the seventh rank again. But in this position, now it's different now. Now the king will like to play on the eighth rank, right? That's what's going to happen. But in that moment where white takes the pawn on d6, black cannot go back on the ninth rank. We don't have that in chess. So now it's different now. So whatever you play here, it's fine. You can play this. Let's say. So in that time, white was the one trying to get. I'm trying to make it the same thing as the last part, the last one. White was the one getting opposition. So let's say king d8, so that white is the one that's getting opposition, right? And then king d7, king b7, king d8, king c6. Now, in this position, if black was able to go to the ninth rank, we don't have that in chess, but if it was possible, then it will be a draw again. But because we don't have that, you can't go back. Now you have to do one of the moves here. If you play here, you're just, you know, it's losing. It's the same thing we just did now, right? So yeah, so this is the same thing as the last one, just that now the pawn is on d5, which is always winning for white. Yeah, this is winning. This is winning. All right, all right, all right. Black just needs to always be able to play king d7. Which 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 one is that? On this part on the last one. Yeah, okay. I guess you're talking about this one. Okay, yeah. Yeah, you got that right. So that's the only way to go about it. If you go to okay, so you're saying black just needs to always be able to play king d7 when you take the pawn. Yeah, yeah. So you have to get the opposition when the white king is in front of the pawn. If you get opposition in that way, it's always a draw. Yeah, so that's the idea. All right. So I think we are done with Endgame now. Probably tomorrow we'll try to do some rook, because today we're doing kings and pawns. So tomorrow we'll do Lucina. We'll do this one cute position I saw in Magnus Train, Magnus Trainer. Yeah, Magnus Trainer. It was the first time seeing it actually. It was in 2022 or something. The Vancouver position.